You've tuned into the Bellingham Podcast for the week of March 25th, 2018, episode 73. From the city by the Salish Sea. Hey, that rhymed. I'm AJ Barsay.
It's straight out of 98226. I still am Chris Powell. On this episode, hey, guess what? You've heard about the nor'easter winter storm. We got a springtime nor'wester. It's called Hurricane Halios. We'll have some horological news for the watch fam, some morning rituals that AJ and I go through on a daily basis, and maybe if there's time remaining, some helpful hacks. Sit back and enjoy, boys and girls. This is the Bellingham Podcast. Hi, AJ. How are you today?
I am good, Chris. How are you?
Caffeinated.
I can tell. Oh, my gosh. So, spring has sprung, and we had, I don't know about you, but I had a little bit of a freak snow flurry yesterday.
I didn't have any snow flurries, but I definitely am combating the frost on the windshield in the morning and still can see my breath. Therefore, it's not quite spring in my book yet.
So, quick at the top of the show, I have a quick correction from episode 72.
That was last week.
Every so often, we make mistakes. And one of our listeners pointed out to me that I made mention because we're talking about...
We have listeners?
We do.
Okay.
One of our listeners pinged me and let me know that I misspoke. The Bellingham tournament that I was speaking of for Pinball actually happened at the Racket, not the Ruckus Room. They both started with ours.
So figure this out. This is how weird Bellingham is, or how awesome, depending on how you look at it. You got the Racket on State Street.
Yes.
You got the Ruckus Room on Railroad. 2 pinball joints starting with the letter R.
Yeah.
And both are 6 letters.
Yeah.
Color me confused.
So, yeah, I was not amply caffeinated. I did not check what I was saying, so my apologies. It was indeed the Racket.
And the best part about this whole correction, they're both great places to go
They're
to.
totally great places. They're so skookum for pinball.
I'm sure they would not want to be confused with each other.
Right,
so,
right.
You know.
So,
anyway, moving on. Our top story this epised.
Well, coming from the north, we have a northwester, and the name is Hurricane Halios. A little bit of a bit for the watch fam. Haven't had a bit like this for a while. And yes, I do know that Basel World is going on. I think it's day 3. I'm not going to make any comments about it until Basel is completely done. So at not 73, but episode 74, we'll probably have a bit on Basel. So that'll be next week. But no, this is kind of more local news because Vancouver has some really skookum like horological places. One is Rolldorf & Co. We mentioned that. So what was cool about that is when you and I were up there, we met with Jason over at Rolldorf & Co. and he had mentioned off the cuff that he was doing a collaborative work on a watch with another Jason Lim from Halios. Now, Halios isn't perhaps a big brand, but they are a really cool brand.
They carry a big stick.
They do. Like whenever there is a new release of any of his watches, they sell out in minutes, if not seconds. Like the last Seaforth launch for his watch, and this is, dare I say, a micro brand. It's a smaller brand, but anybody who either has seen a Halios or knows what I'm talking about, everybody's just shaking their head going, yeah, like it's a really cool, nifty design where it borrows from the past, but it is not an homage of anything. They're all really good looking tool watches, rugged, durable, but the announcement as of this morning, and you got to remember, there's Jason Lim of Halios and Jason Gallop of Rolldorf & Co. Jason of Rolldorf & Co. pinged me a message on Instagram of a post, just an initial draft rendering of what they have created. And I don't know what the name of this work is, but it's a Seaforth, but it's unlike any other Seaforth that's been in there, and it's very svelte, very minimal, and it comes in stainless steel or in a DLC black, which I thought was...
You're talking my love language.
Oh, dude, when I saw this, the first impression I saw when I saw just this draft rendering is, this watch looks like a field watch, or if you're familiar with the original Rolex Explorer, this looks like a Rolex Explorer that was built for the Pacific Northwest. It's got numerals on 3, 6, and 9 with a triangle pip at 12. I don't think there's any type of indexing or chapter ring around it, so it's very clean dial. That's it. I mean, it's just very... minimal, very clean, unknown for pricing, but the few specs that we do know about it is that it'll have a DLC for black coating if you want that, or a stainless steel case, and it'll be rocking an ETA 2892-A2, which I'm going to get my movement hat on. What's cool about this movement is, I believe, and I think Jason confirmed it for me this morning, this is a movement that is meant for time. That's it. Like a lot of movements, when you get a micro brand that does not have a date aperture on the dial, there's still a click, and it drives some people nuts. Where it's just like you click it out, and it's, oh, that's not the time. You have to click it out one more time. This will be literally, you pull it out, it'll hack, and you'll be able to set time, push it in, it'll start ticking, and you're off to the races, which is a really, really nice feature.
I did a little bit of checking. First of all, after you showed me the SketchUp or the photo of this watch, boy howdy, that's a nice looking one. Kudos. Looking forward to seeing the finished product.
Same here.
Flooding Instagram with the hashtag watchfam. But I did a little bit of checking on the ETA 2892A2. The A is standing for awesome in this case, because the 2892-2 is kind of the lower end movement from what I had researched. The A is in the upper scale, so this movement is higher quality. They're using the custom boutique movement, if you will, for this timepiece, because why would you not?
Yeah. There's lots of different grades of it. So it's not a base. It's not just the basic grade. But there's going to be one of two dial options. The one that I showed you, which is kind of like a near black with a black center, and then there's also going to be like a near black with like a cream center. So
the Oreo cookie, if you will.
Yeah, Oreo cookie. I like that.
No, I don't think they like that. Sorry, guys.
Okay, sorry.
Anyway,
we're hungry. Well, anyway. Just like I said, we're not a news show, but if we did, we'd probably do it better. But it was just something that it's in our local beat, and these are two companies that are both, in my eyes, local. I mean, whether there's a Canadian border or not, we're all in the Republic of Cascadia.
One world, one watch fam, one podcast.
Oh, wow.
The Bellingham Podcast.
Oh, wow. That's good. And speaking of that, you might be listening to us on the air here locally at Kamira 102.3 FM.
Low power
community radio here in the heart of the city of subdued excitement.
That's right. Anyway, great news, and probably have a follow-up depending on how things go after Basel World's all taken care. I call it Basel World.
Basel. You say Basel, I say Basel,
74,
whatever.
We got your hookup.
Right.
Let's switch gears a little bit to our morning routine, because there are times when AJ and I stagger into the workplace, our respective offices, either chomping at the bit or
dragon heel.
That could work as well. So I tried this experiment because I'm an observer of society, and I've noticed that there's this thing out there in the Instagram world, the universe. There's a thing where people take pictures of food. Have you noticed this, folks? One of the many pictures of food that people take is of an acai bowl, which is a new thing for breakfast that consists of a superfood known as acai, and a little bit of a smoothie style base with fill in the blank with choose your own adventure for toppings, which is also to the variety of the pictures that people will post before they dig into their morning smoothie bowl. So I wanted to try one out because I want to know what all the hubbub is about. And here in Bellingham, after when I did a little bit of research, one of the top places to go get an acai bowl, should you be interested, is off of Barclay off of Woburn Street in the Barclay Hood, called Robex. It's a national chain, love them to death, great healthy stuff. I got there at 7 a.m, right when they opened, because I didn't want to have to wait in line, because when I'm hungry, I'm hungry. And Travis, the manager at Robex in the Barclay area, Travis, a great job. You made it Instagram worthy.
Travis, you are the goods.
So pretty much, I didn't know which one to make, but he recommended the straw banana, which you could probably figure out what was in that. Really good ingredients. It was almost a bicep curl worthy bowl with its density and weight, and it's about the size of a salad bowl. Not too big, not too small. And boy, it tasted like, I often am not talented enough to make smoothies that you can consume through a straw. Oftentimes I make them really thick, so you'd need a spoon. This one was very similar. Combine it with some granola and coconut flakes, and the food hack that I was unaware of that Mr. Travis at Robex did, that I was able to observe quietly, you take those little hard-boiled egg slicers that get you the little dollar size.
Yeah, the ones with the lines, right?
Yeah, my family calls them the egg burk because we have one that looks like an egg with eyes and stuff like that. So anyway,
cool.
You take your egg burk, instead of a hard-boiled egg, you put a strawberry in there. Oh, look, you get nicely fine sliced strawberries to display accordion style over the top of your bowl. Dotted with a couple blueberries of choice and some coconut leaves. You got a red, white, and blue bowl of goodness. So that's a great way to start the day. It's about the price of a typical entree in your pancake house or your whatever type of morning grubville you would visit. But I would say, should you want to go on a health kick and treat yourself, because I think in some cases tax returns are starting to filter in.
Yeah.
And what a great way to start the morning or start off the weekend with a acai bowl from Robex.
Now, question: when you have this acai bowl, it sounds like you were bicep curling every spoonful of it. This is a dense thing for about $9
around that range. Yeah. Yes, in that neighborhood.
So, does it really sit with you for the entire morning, or can you skip lunch? What's it do for you?
Well, it definitely makes your innards healthier.
Well, yes.
And it heals the insides for all of the diets that I've had of Twinkies and Hostess cupcakes in the morning and, pork rinds that I would normally consume in the morning. No, I'm just kidding. I'm only serious. But as far as what it does for you, it has so many healing ingredients with antioxidants. And oh, by the way, fruit's kind of good for you. I found that by having that at around 7:45 in the morning, I was nicely sated or satiated, depending on which it might be, before lunch. I didn't have the hunger pangs, and I wasn't ravenous when lunchtime came around. So it's just, along those lines, I'm starting to think about, there's these oatmeal overnight bowls where you prep a whole, let them,
you put it in a crock pot, don't you?
In some cases, a crock pot, or you just put the raw ingredients like a mashed banana or rolled oats.
We tried that once.
You tried that, and you just throw them in a container overnight in the fridge. Hey, it's some tasty oatmeal goodness. But from a fruit standpoint, wow, that was really a whole lot of goodness.
Well, cool.
In one. So anyway, give that a try. Normally, my morning consists of we're taking the dog outside to let do its business and doing the morning commute. I usually don't have much of a breakfast routine. I pretty much am, listening to a podcast on the way to work or my hard rock music to get me amped up if I need some kind of caffeinated boost. And then I hit the ground running. AJ, what do you normally do for a morning routine?
Well, lately my little one gets me up like clockwork at 5 o'clock, like a rooster. And so lately I have been enjoying my Kamira. See the previous episodes about that, or the Bialetti. Usually once we get him up and dressed and stuff, I'll usually go downstairs with him, and he's in the kitchen with me and, making a mess of things. But he's helping Dad,
Is he making breakfast for you?
Well, he tries. He does have this little red cup, and then I usually give him like a spatula or a wooden spoon. And he does. He starts mixing it and then takes the spoon and starts mixing it again. It's cute. Anyway, so he's helping Dad in the kitchen.
Very good.
Anyway, making coffee the way that I've talked about ad nauseum on the show. But one thing that my wife and I have done for a while is we make avocado toast. Now, before everybody rolls their eyes, okay, the avocado toast is not anything new. We were eating it long before hipsters discovered it because we love avocados. And a cool hack I'd like to throw in here is if you're an avocado fan, especially on the off season, try the local cash and carry. If you don't know about cash and carry, basically it's like a restaurant supply store, kind of like Costco, but you don't need a membership.
Or the pain tolerance for parking in their parking lot.
Right. One of the cool things they've got is they got this big bag of avocados, which I don't know how much it works out a piece, but it's cents as opposed to dollars and cents an avocado. And so we usually get a big satchel of those every week or two, and that's our avocado stash. Usually you get them and they're fairly green, so you got to let them sit for a while. And once one ripens, you need to start eating them because they all ripen at the same time because, it's intended for a restaurant, right? But no, it saves you some cashola. And if you love avocados as much as we do, usually we have avocado in the morning with coffee, and then either my lovely wife carpools me in, or as the weather is getting nicer, hopefully, and not snowing, I'll be taking the motorcycle into work. So usually my morning is a little less tech. I don't check my email ever. in the morning.
You don't?
No. I will
Really?
Nope.
You're a computer tech, AJ.
Nope, I don't check. I do not check it until I literally have at least a cup of coffee in my hand and I'm at least in the office.
So, let me deviate from the show notes that we have here because you're piquing my interest. Because unfortunately, I like seeing death approaching in many ways. So my eyes are open and I observe. How do you handle it with your professional work?
Yeah.
Do you have these instances where you have urgent 4-alarm fire matters to take care of? Smacking you in the face as soon as you walk in the door?
Well, I mean, so the thing that I do in the morning is I do check like my calendar. Okay. And usually I'll check my calendar at night. That way I know what I'm walking into the next morning because I usually want to be checked out. The only notifications that I'll check is things like related to the show. Like, I had a message from Jason this morning, or we get a message from a listener or whatever. That type of thing. Yeah, I'll probably see it. But unless it's something that I need to address, it can wait type of a thing. But no, I don't check my email until I get here in the office. When I'm in the office, I'm in the office. But otherwise, the morning's my family. I
think I may be in a little bit different place. As much as I proselytize having boundaries set up, professional work-life balance boundaries that fill in the blank, I think I'm still in a place in my technological life that in case there is something going on, as I'm approaching a higher level critical thinking, a little bit more advanced tech problem to solve, I want to have that rolling around in my head for a little bit.
See, I don't.
But obviously you think better on your feet than I do.
Well, maybe. I guess here's the thing that I kind of have in my head. Like, I don't want to worry about something the whole time I'm coming into the office. When I'm here, I can assess, I can evaluate, and I can just execute something and get it done. I don't want to have the lead time of door to door, a 20-ish minute commute and then just be stewing on something. Whereas if I just walk in, I can see it, I can assess it, and I can just knock it out. That's kind of how I usually operate. And I really haven't seen anything like huge, like cataclysmic, hit me when I walk in the door. Now, yes, I do think on my feet a lot, and a little bit of anticipation. Maybe if something is on the horizon, I'll already have it in the back of my mind. But seeing an email and being worried about it, I think doesn't do me any good. So I just wait until I get on the site so I can see it. I think
it's a great way. I admire how you're able to handle that. I'm a stewer. I visualize my successes. I visualize when I see a problem, or like if I get an email from a client and then, okay, I'm headed your way to your computer, et cetera, et cetera. If I'm walking to their office, I'm visualizing where I'm going to mouse click, what window I'm going to open. That's really, really nerdy. But I found that helps me become better prepared so that I can quickly ascertain a problem. Then when things go sideways after when I gave it my best shot that I visualized, then I have to exercise thinking on my feet. I just have it kind of started in September 11th, 2001, when I woke up in the morning and saw
That's what I said, unless it's something cataclysmic,
Yes, and I think since then, maybe there's others out there that felt the same, but I felt like that kind of, when you turn on the morning news and are used to seeing the traffic report with backups, when you see something like a big emergency situation like that, you kind of are a little rattled. Yeah. Maybe I've had 17 years of PTSD from that. In some acute form.
But I'll kind of hit your curveball a little further into the park. I also don't check the news every day. I don't check my Facebook every day. I don't, when it comes to the news, unless it's something cataclysmic, I check in every Monday.
Okay.
And so everything else in the week, whether it is my email or what is the biggest paparazzi headline of whatever it may be, it can wait. It just, for me to dwell, because a lot of people, I've heard about this a lot, is like people are clinging on to the news like their favorite reality TV show, dying to find out who's going to get the axe at the end of the season.
Or who's going to get the ring or the rose.
Right. And really, it does. I've seen a lot of people worked up, and it's just like, really, like, do you have to see what the latest, suspect headline is or superlative? I don't know. We need to be able to, like you said, set a parameter. And for me, when it comes to news, I do it every Monday after work, when everything is all said and done. With my email, it's not until I actually check in so that I can be on, because again, like things can change. You could visualize something, and the moment you get there, oh, you're on a Mac, and then out the window goes anything that you've been stirred up about. So that's why I usually just, set a dedicated time and just knock it out, because without being there to assess it, you can't really execute anything.
So I think I get it now. It's like you are actually not doing any work. Your mind is not doing any work that you're not getting paid for.
Well, you can see it that way. But the other thing is like, I don't want to spend any extra time going down a rabbit hole that's not going to yield anything. It doesn't do anybody any good.
This is why the Bellingham podcast has been so much fun for 73 episodes now. We have different approaches to things.
We disagree on something again.
And it's possible to disagree, yet find the commonality or find the Venn diagram. I guess for those of you that want to be in the know, and I think I'm still in that crowd. I kind of like, not because I want to seem smarter by knowing.
No, that's not what I mean.
Which of the Kardashians torpedoed Snapchat's stock price? It was Kylie, by the way. I'm trying to train myself to actually be in the I don't know category, in which that gives me back a whole lot more brain cells that I don't have to worry about remembering all these things. But I guess I still haven't conquered that hill of not being worried about what is waiting for me in the office. I think due to previous experiences where I walked into situations that were pretty intense and pretty, hostile, shall we say, in a professional standpoint, that conditioned me in some aspects to always be prepared. Yeah,
well, and it's not that I'm not walking in blind, but it's just, and I've had the same situation too. Mm-hmm. But the other thing is, when you have that mindset, that what I've found is, you can't have either your work or whatever information that you're trying to digest consume your every waking minute. Like I've seen people where they come home, like the typical BlackBerry era, the businessman or woman who has their BlackBerry, and they go home and they're always on their BlackBerry, and you miss, especially if you're a parent, if you're always have your nose in the phone, you miss out on the cute little moments. And when I decided to have a kid, I wanted to make sure that I caught as many of those, because you don't get them back, So my mindset changed drastically. And yeah, every so often, do I stumble? Yes. Do I make a mistake on a show, like mistaking the Ruckus Room and the Racket? Absolutely.
It's an appropriate mistake with how common.
But again, like, it's just one of those things where I'd rather have more time, kind of boots on the ground, and assess something while I'm there, as opposed to just being worried or and again, this doesn't apply just to work. I see it also with people just being consumed by, what's the latest headline of whatever.
Is a headline really a headline anymore? That's the question. That's safe for another episode. Anyway, for those of you listening out there, and if it's one or two of you, thanks. We appreciate it. But for those of you listening, if you are in Camp AJ, or if you're with Team AJ, for example, and you don't really deal with your email in the morning, or you don't care about your email, or if you're with Team Chris, where you kind of check your email outside of work times, give us a call and leave us a voicemail about this. Area code 201-731-8324. That's 201-731-TECH. Let us know how you approach your email. Do you have it tamed, or is it taking over a part of your life that you're having a tough time coming to grips with? We'd love to hear from you.
So along those same lines, so it's been one episode. So we have a bit, the helpful hacks bit. Do we have a jingle?
Dun 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 dun, helpful hack.
If there's anybody out there that really wants to do some pro bono jingle work, please get a hold of us.
201-731-TECH. Bail me out, folks. We need a pro to help us with these jingles.
So in light of all of the political hootenanny and headline hootenanny, and man, there's a lot of hootenanny. When we recorded that episode last week, it was before all of this news about Facebook and Analytica and all this other jazz broke, which I thought was, I found hilarious, because we did that bit about, hey, taking back your digital lives, make a website. And then boosh.
Maybe we have more than one or two people listening to the show, AJ. How about that?
So
we got our own hashtag.
So the Bellingham Podcast, we're not a news nor political show, nor do we want to be one. But so we're going to scrap the political side of this and just point out there's a lot of people from the tech side of things that are concerned of what they should do. And you and I have mentioned this time and time again, where Facebook's kind of a social media in general, it's a double-edged sword where you've invested all of this time in your content. And what if you leave? And there are some people that have, they've documented their lives, and that's where they back up their photos or whatever. In the show notes, I have two links for you. One is how to download your Facebook. Yes, you heard me right. You can download your Facebook, all those videos, all those photos. The things that don't get downloaded are your interactions. But if you liked a certain thing, like a band or whatever, it'll give you a roster of like bands that you've liked or whatever.
What a great recap of who you were in 2012 and what you liked then versus now.
Or if you're like me and you purged all that long ago. But to quote what we say on the show, I'll go first. I decided to go down the road both as a business and as a personal account. I went in, I clicked the link, I downloaded my Facebook, and just to see what they give you. Once you go through your settings and you ask for a download, you have to put in your password several times because they want to make sure it's you. And they also prompt you that bear in mind that you are downloading your Facebook. You might want to make sure you're on your machine, like at home, because it's your stuff, right?
Don't do this at your local coffee shop with free wireless, folks. That's just waiting to get having a bad time.
So anyway, this is a backup of your everything that they're going to give you, and in doing so, so my profile was about 500 megs. So about a half a gig to download.
How many years was that?
Well, that's a little bit of a funny story. So I've been with Facebook since it was open to college students. However, those era, I used some tech ninjutsu and got rid of pretty much everything from when I started to about my exit of grad school. So there's a good chunk of my life that's gone on there just because I didn't want it out there long ago. Anyway, that's me. So the most recent stuff is usually just videos that I've uploaded or stuff about our show. It's just stuff that I know is already there. I wanted to know how much that costs, and that costs about 500 megs. And with it, they also give you some HTML pages that you can right mouse click and open with and put it into your favorite browser. So you can kind of click on things and it will show you how all of those things are organized in your zip file. If you are concerned about your Facebook, this is a way that you can back it up before you push the big delete button. Or again, you can also suspend your account on Facebook. That means your data is still out there, but you don't have an active profile. So there's two routes that you can go: download it and hit delete, and then also you can just suspend it and disappear from the network for a while, but you can always reactivate.
Or just take a break.
Yeah, or take a break. And there's people out there that do that.
And they make avocado toast in the morning.
Sure. So anyway, so that's one. Two, the other thing I would like to point out is you can also, if you have a business page, a small or big business, you can download your business stuff the exact same way. You do have to be signed into your business page to do so, and you will get the same type of zip file. So if you did have content that you want to use on other networks, the thing about this from the business side is that you may have put a time investment into doing short videos or shorts that you don't want to recreate the wheel. This is a way that you can get that content, and that way you can repurpose it later, and then you can again hit delete on your pages. Lastly, on this bit that I want to point out is there is kind of an uprising in who's going to be the next big social network, whatever. For a while, there's been a kind of indie, I'll call them an indie social network called Vero. I believe it's Latin for truth. Vero is basically it's more app-based type of a thing. It's kind of like if Facebook and Instagram and Path kind of had a weird social media love child. That's kind of what they position themselves as. A lot of Instagrammers have moved over to them because they have some extra features that are nice, but I'm not going to go into depth about that social network, but it is out there if you want to take a look at it. I got a link in the show notes. What's nice about it is here's a network where they're trying to be kind of like in the early days of our show, we talked about Ello, who was open source.
Hello.
Open source and also social network. Creatives have kind of clommed onto that one. Vero kind of wants to be for the Vox Populi. What's cool about it is, if you recall back in the early 30s and 40s episodes of the Bellingham podcast, Chris and I talked about tech addiction and digital addiction.
Oh, it still exists.
And Vero puts it front and center. They actually have a dashboard that they enacted as of yesterday at the time of this recording, where you can see the usage info of how long you've time sucked on their network.
Ooh.
Per day and aggregated.
That could make a lot of people squirm.
Well, it's a nice reminder that, again, Vero's kind of they kind of poke fun of themselves. Like, yeah, we're the next social network, and we also want you to know you shouldn't be doing a lot of stuff on us. You should be living life, you know. Anyway, it's a little tongue in cheek, but I have a link in the show notes for that as well. What's interesting about them is they have a public manifesto, again, kind of taking a page out of Elo. In their manifesto, they state that they do not, are not intending their network to be monetized through ads. They want your data to be your data. Okay, cool. This is all, again, they've been around before the Facebook issues. The other interesting thing is that originally the first 1 million members who signed up would have a free account in perpetuity, because how they intend to monetize is to upfront charge you every month for your profile. Now, they have now suspended that, probably because they have gotten a groundswell of people on their network. But again, bear in mind, much like Chris and I talked about last week, that data costs. Facebook had 500 megs of my stuff stored on their servers that I just now took off. And Vero is going to be charging, presumably in the future, for you to use their service. And this is not anything new. We pay for phone service. We pay for web hosting. You know, in the future, I think out of this, people are going to realize that data costs one way or another.
That's pretty cool.
Should we stick a fork in this?
I think we should stick a fork in this. Do your thing. Wrap it up.
Okay. That wraps it up for this edition of the Bellingham Podcast. Thank you again so much for listening to us, rating us, reviewing us on Google Play, SoundCloud, iTunes, and anywhere else you love to podcast. Remember, if you're in the Bellingham area, you might listen to us on KMRE 102.3 FM.
Low Power Community Radio.
Here in the heart of the city by the Salish Sea. On that note, I'm AJ Parsay.
And I'm Chris Powell. Thanks again for joining us on the Bellingham Podcast.
Oh, man, I have to say, I love the hook of Hurricane Halios.
I think that goes over well, I would say.
The Watch fam ought to love that one.
I hope so.